Have you ever felt something inside you that isn't quite a thought, isn't just a feeling, but something deeper, a quiet knowing that whispers, not with words, but with certainty? That's not your mind playing tricks. That's your inner compass, and it doesn't come from your head. Long before we learned to dissect the human body, long before science put the brain on a pedestal, ancient cultures honored something else entirely, the heart. The organ that pumps blood, but the center of your being, the invisible core, the true throne of your spirit. The spiritual heart. It doesn't beat, it calls for it. This heart isn't made of muscle or tissue. It's made of light, presence, and energy. It's a temple, hidden inside your chest, quiet, undisturbed, unshaken, even when the outside world falls apart. It's the part of you that watches without judgment, listens without needing to respond, and understands without needing to explain. It's always been there. While your mind analyzes and your emotions react, the spiritual heart simply knows. It doesn't argue. It doesn't chase. It waits until you remember how to listen. Ancient wisdom keepers, across continents, gave it many names. The Egyptians saw it as the scale against which your soul was weighed. In their Book of the Dead, it wasn't your achievements or words that were judged, it was the purity of your heart. If it was heavy with regret or dishonesty, your journey ended there. No second chances. The heart didn't lie. In Vedic tradition, it's the home of the Anahata chakra, the place where air meets spirit, where love becomes more than emotion, and becomes a state of being. It is the middle point between the earth and the sky, the balance between survival and transcendence. You see, the spiritual heart isn't a metaphor. It's a portal. Modern life trains us to think our way through everything, to plan, to hustle, to fix. But this path, this frantic path of the head, often leads us in circles. The heart doesn't move in circles. It moves in spirals. It unfolds, it deepens, and when we follow it, we don't just live, we awaken. The reason most people feel disconnected, anxious, or lost, it's not because they're broken. It's because they've forgotten how to center themselves in the heart. The mind screams, the heart whispers, and in a noisy world, we've forgotten how to hear it. But here's the truth. Your spiritual heart is still alive. It's still open, still waiting for you to return. You return every time you choose stillness over reaction. Every time you pause before speaking. Every time you breathe in with the question, what would love do now? Because that's the language of the heart. Not logic, not ego, not control, but connection. When you live from the heart, you start making choices that don't just serve your goals but your soul. You stop needing to be right and start needing to be real. You stop performing and start being. You start to notice the energy behind words, the intention behind actions. And you realize your life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. This shift doesn't happen in a moment, but it begins in one. And maybe this is yours. So take a breath, put your hand on your chest, not just to feel your heartbeat, but to remember that there's something deeper there. Something sacred, something eternal. That is your spiritual heart. And the moment you live from it, you don't just change your life. You begin to remember who you truly are. If something inside you stirred, let it guide you. Share this message with someone else walking through the fog. Subscribe if you feel called, and speak your truth in the comments, because every voice that comes from the heart is a ripple in the field of awakening. This isn't just another video, this is a doorway, and your heart is the key. In the heart of ancient wisdom, there's a sacred space few ever dare to explore. It's not marked on any physical map. You won't find it with an X-ray or a microscope, but once you feel it, you'll know it's more real than anything you've ever touched. Across traditions, it has many names. In yogic philosophy, it's called Anahata, the fourth chakra. Located right in the center of the chest, Anahata means unstruck sound, the original vibration. It's not noise, it's silence so pure, it echoes eternity. This is the energy of unconditional love, of truth without fear, of the soul beginning to remember what it really is. Anahata isn't just a symbol, it's a turning point, a place beyond conflict, beyond the duality of mind and matter. It's where intuition blooms, where love becomes an unshakable presence, not something you feel, but something you are. In Islamic mysticism, especially within Sufism, they speak of the qalb, the spiritual heart. The Sufis say the qalb is a mirror. When clean, it reflects divine light. When clouded by ego, anger, or desire, the light is blocked. It doesn't mean the light disappears, it just means we can't see it. So they don't seek knowledge just for the mind. They seek awakening for the heart, because only the heart can recognize God not as an idea, but as a living reality. Christian mystics also knew this. The Sacred Heart is more than art or devotion. It's a blazing symbol of divine love at the center of being. Saints and seekers across time spoke of the heart as a living flame, a hidden altar inside. Saint Teresa of Avila described the soul as an inner castle, and the innermost room quiet, sacred, unreachable by the world is the heart. That's where she met the divine. What do all these teachings have in common? They point to a truth that can't be argued, only felt. There is a deeper center within you, a secret space that doesn't speak in language, but in presence. And when you find it, the world outside doesn't disappear, it transforms. In today's world, we're taught to worship the mind, to trust data, logic, screens. We chase achievements, perfect plans, and constant movement. But the spiritual heart doesn't move fast, it doesn't shout, it waits, it watches, and when we finally stop running, we start to hear it. This isn't about believing in something abstract, it's about remembering something ancient. The spiritual heart isn't a myth, it's a living part of your energy field, sitting right at the intersection between the subtle body and the soul. It's not just emotional, it's energetic. It doesn't think it knows. Ancient teachings say we are layered beings, a physical body, a mental body, an emotional body, a subtle energy body, and finally, a spiritual body, the deepest part of us. The heart lives where the soul touches the energy field. It's the control center of your higher self, quietly organizing your path, your growth, your becoming. Unlike the brain, which breaks things down to understand, the heart brings things together. It senses the truth not through steps, but through resonance. You don't need to figure it out, you only need to feel it. Like a song you've never heard, but instantly recognize. Like a memory you never lived, but somehow remember. This heart doesn't follow the ticking of a clock. It moves to the rhythm of your spirit. So pause, breathe, and feel into the center of your chest. Not the physical organ, but the presence behind it. That subtle warmth, that quiet depth, that is your doorway, that is your home, and it's been waiting for you all along. Many ancient paths speak of an invisible energy around the human body, an aura, a light body, a field of subtle vibration. Within that field are power points called chakras, each one spinning with its own purpose and frequency. The spiritual heart sits near the fourth chakra, anahata, but make no mistake, they are not the same. If anahata is the wheel, the spiritual heart is the rider. The chakra moves energy, the spiritual heart gives it meaning. It's like a piano, and the soul that plays it both important, but only one knows the song. When the spiritual heart begins to stir, something extraordinary happens. Your choices shift, not because someone told you to behave differently, but because something deeper begins to guide you. Selfish desires fade, not because they're bad, but because they no longer satisfy. Instead, there's a pull toward truth, beauty, and stillness. You begin to feel what's right, not based on rules, but from a quiet certainty inside. This isn't about morality taught from the outside. It's a natural compassion that rises like the sun, gentle, inevitable, and completely real. You start to feel life around you differently, not as something to conquer or control, but something to hold, to witness, to love. Clarity becomes your compass. You don't just think your way through life, you see through it. Illusion, fear, manipulation, they stand out like shadows in the light. The ancient mystics said the spiritual heart is the true I, not the voice in your head, not the roles you play, but the silent presence behind your eyes. The one that watches without judging, listens without interrupting, and loves without grasping. It's the stillness beneath your thoughts. The witness that was there when you were 5, and will still be there at your last breath. In Sufism, in Tibetan Tantra, in Christian contemplative prayer, the spiritual heart is not a side note, it's the entire path. Because without it, spiritual practice becomes routine, a ritual, without a flame. But when the heart awakens, prayer becomes poetry. A meditation becomes communion. Even doing the dishes feels like worship. You realize the sacred isn't somewhere else. It's not in a temple or a mountaintop. It's here in this breath, this body, this moment, and the journey. It's not about climbing or achieving. It's about descending, going inward, going home. Don't be fooled. It's not easy. This isn't some flip a switch enlightenment. The heart has always been there. like a hidden garden, but it's buried under layers of fear, trauma, noise, and forgetfulness. We don't need to become something new, we need to remember who we've always been. The biggest obstacle, the ego. The ego is the master of disguise. It wears masks, chases approval, builds walls, and whispers lies. It tells you you're separate, alone, not enough. It needs to win, to compare, to be right, but the heart doesn't play those games. It doesn't argue or shout. It just waits. It doesn't crave power. It is power, the quiet kind. The ego won't leave because you ask nicely. It dissolves when a higher awareness rises. And that awareness doesn't come from the mind. It's born in the center of the chest, in that silent sanctuary. Only the brave dare enter. Many traditions call it the hidden flame. Alchemists whispered of a fire that doesn't burn, a light that doesn't blind. Saints described it as divine warmth, a glowing ember at the center of the soul. And once you feel it, truly feel it, nothing outside will ever feel as real again. Because the spiritual heart isn't a theory. It's the doorway to who you are beneath everything the world told you to be. The fire of inner transformation has been spoken of across countless ancient traditions. In the Kabbalah, they call it the nitz, a divine spark residing deep within the human heart, yearning to reunite with boundless light. This fire isn't something you can touch or see. It's a vibration, a sacred pulse. When you begin living from this spiritual heart, the fire awakens. It starts burning away the falsehoods, the masks you wear, the illusions you cling to. What remains is raw, undeniable truth. But what does this awakening actually feel like? How do you know if you're truly guided by the spiritual heart, and not just swept away by a fleeting emotion? It's not about chasing bliss or feeling euphoric. Sometimes those moments come, but the heart's awakening is more subtle, more profound. It's a deep, unwavering peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances. It's a quiet strength, a vastness inside you that expands your sense of self. Suddenly, others don't feel separate anymore. They feel like reflections of yourself, threads in the same web of life. Imagine an invisible door opening within, revealing a well of wisdom, not taught by books or teachers, but known as if you've carried it across lifetimes. At first, this feeling is fleeting, brief flashes of silence, moments of pure love, times during meditation when your ego dissolves, and you glimpse something greater. But with patience and openness, this spiritual heart grows. It becomes the anchor of your existence. Instead of reacting on autopilot, driven by thought or impulse, you respond from a place of calm, clear awareness. This presence watches without judgment, accepts without resistance, and shines gentle light on everything you experience. What's truly fascinating is that, when the spiritual heart stirs awake, it also switches on an inner guide. Many describe this as a soft whisper, not commanding or loud, but a quiet voice that gently nudges you toward what is right and true. This guide doesn't need to shout. Its clarity is unmistakable to anyone who tunes into their soul, even amidst life's chaos. When this awakening takes root, something remarkable happens. The spiritual heart doesn't just shift your perspective, it begins to regulate your entire life energy. Whether you call it prana, chi, or simply subtle energy, this vital force starts flowing more freely. Your body begins to heal itself, emotional storms settle, and your mind clears like a sky after rain. Think of the spiritual heart as a conductor directing an orchestra, not through force or control, but through the harmonious vibration of conscious love. This is the secret ancient teachers kept sacred. The spiritual heart isn't only a beacon of truth, it's a powerful engine of transformation. It's the foundation for genuine spiritual growth and the most incredible truth. This hidden organ has been inside you all along, patiently waiting for your attention, for your intention, for you to awaken it. Awakening the spiritual heart isn't reserved for monks in monasteries or mystics in seclusion. It's available to anyone who longs for a deeper, richer, more meaningful life. But it doesn't just happen by accident. It requires intention, commitment, and a willingness to face yourself honestly. So where do you start? Begin by creating quiet moments each day, time to sit with your breath, to watch your thoughts without getting tangled in them. Practice opening your chest, softening around the heart space, allowing warmth and openness to grow. Listen closely to that inner whisper when it speaks. Don't rush to respond or judge it. Cultivate compassion not just for others, but for yourself, especially when shadows arise. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination. Every step inward brings you closer to the fire that burns beyond illusion, the fire of your true self, waiting to light up your life. Keep the spark alive, and nurture the flame of your spiritual heart with these powerful practices. 1. Cultivate inner silence. The spiritual heart whispers softly. It requires stillness to be heard. This silence isn't just about quiet surroundings, but about calming the storm inside your mind. Silence the endless chatter, the judgments, the worries. Dedicate a few minutes each day, even just 10, to sit in quiet without trying to solve or analyze anything. Simply be present. This space creates the perfect environment for your heart's voice to emerge and be noticed. 2. Gently focus your attention on the center of your chest. This simple act can be done any time, while meditating, walking mindfully, or even during routine tasks. Think of it as turning a key to unlock your heart's energy. With practice, you might sense a warm presence, or a subtle awakening within your chest, like your heart responding quietly to your invitation. 3. Align your thoughts, words, and actions. The spiritual heart flourishes when your inner world matches your outer expressions. This harmony clears the way for its energy to flow freely, boosting your vitality and sharpening your intuitive awareness. It's not about perfection, but about authenticity, having the bravery to act from your deepest truth, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. 4. Transform your pain into a doorway. Difficult experiences, wounds, and losses often serve as catalysts for awakening. Instead of avoiding or suppressing pain, face it with openness and tenderness. Ask yourself, what part of me needs rebirth? Frequently, the spiritual heart blooms in the darkest hours, when pretenses drop away and raw truth shines through. Embrace your suffering as a sacred path, rather than an enemy. 5. Serve others with loving awareness. Helping others from a genuine open heart is one of the most profound ways to ignite your spiritual heart. This isn't about duty or obligation, but about seeing others as reflections of yourself. When you serve from this place, every small act transforms into a sacred connection, linking you to a greater energy beyond yourself. 6. Practice gratitude as a spiritual discipline. Gratitude is more than a pleasant feeling. It's a dynamic force that shifts your energy and nourishes your spiritual heart. When you give thanks, deeply and sincerely, you open your soul's secret garden to bloom. Be thankful not only for what's visible and easy, but also for the invisible and challenging moments. Gratitude feeds your inner light and strengthens your connection to life's mystery. These aren't just routine tasks, they are sacred practices that demand respect, dedication, and love. Approached as gifts rather than obligations, they plant seeds for a life guided by your heart, the hidden place where your deepest truth resides. We live in a noisy world. Screens glare, opinions clash loudly, and time slips through our fingers. In this chaos, we often lose contact with the one space within where truth requires no proof. Peace stands firm regardless of circumstance, and wisdom arises naturally not from teaching, but from being. This inner sanctuary is the spiritual heart waiting patiently to be discovered. By embracing silence, focus, alignment, courage, service, and gratitude, you invite its flame to grow brighter, lighting your way through life's challenges and triumphs alike. When your heart leads, life transforms. Your presence deepens, your connections strengthen, your purpose becomes clearer. This is the true awakening. The heart's timeless call to remember who you really are. Beyond the noise, beyond the masks, beyond the fleeting moments. Listen closely, the fire is waiting. Through this journey, we've come to understand that the spiritual heart is far more than a poetic idea or a gentle metaphor. It's a radiant center, recognized across the world's oldest spiritual paths. From the ancient Egyptians to yogis, Sufis, and mystical Christians, every tradition points toward the same profound truth. Within you lies a sacred temple, and inside that temple burns a flame that no force can extinguish, even if sometimes it's forgotten. Modern science has made incredible progress in mapping the mind and body, yet it often overlooks the invisible soul, the essence that transcends what we can see and measure. But that's changing. More people than ever feel a deep unrest, a yearning that no amount of logic or material success can satisfy. This is the spiritual heart, calling you awake, inviting you to remember what lies beyond the surface. The hardest part of awakening this heart isn't discovering it, it's learning to trust it. Living from the spiritual heart means breaking free from old habits, quieting the mind, when it tries to undermine you, and choosing lasting truth over fleeting pleasure. It means surrendering the illusion of control, which can feel terrifying at first, but is necessary for true freedom. On the rewards, they're immense. When you live from your spiritual heart, you discover an inner compass that guides you with unwavering clarity. You realize you're not an isolated self, but a vital part of a sacred flow. Every person you meet, every moment of joy or sorrow, fits into a grand, harmonious symphony, not chaos, but a dance led by the soul's intelligence. It teaches you to move through life with steady grace, not hurried steps, to honor each moment as a threshold, a doorway to something deeper. I invite you not to let this idea remain abstract or distant, but bring it into your everyday life. Speak to your heart each morning. Feel its presence when making choices. Ask it questions your mind can't answer. Listen carefully when the world pressures you to conform or hide your true self. And above all, trust it. If you nurture that flame, if you keep returning to your heart's wisdom, one day it won't just guide you, it will become your true home. In that home, there's no loneliness, no confusion, no fear, only a calm, timeless certainty that you are exactly where you need to be, and that everything necessary to remember your true self is already glowing at the core of your being. If this message resonates, if it sparked something inside you or reminded you of a truth long buried, I encourage you to go deeper on this path. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a community dedicated not just to intellectual knowledge, but to awakening with the soul. Here we explore forgotten wisdom, soul maps, and practical tools to support transformation from the inside out. If this video inspired you, please give it a like. That positive energy helps reach others whose hearts are still asleep. And if you feel moved, share it with someone who needs this message, because sometimes one simple message can rekindle a fire that's been dormant for years. Remember, the journey to your spiritual heart isn't about escaping life or running away from your challenges. It's about coming home. Coming home to the most sacred and real part of yourself, a place where your spirit is free, your heart is open, and your soul is alive. Home is not just a place where we rest or keep our belongings. It's the deepest sanctuary within ourselves. Beyond the walls, the noise, and the distractions, there's a hidden space inside every person that holds the essence of who we truly are. This inner home is the resting place of the spirit, the heart's refuge, and the soul's origin. It's the quiet center where everything aligns, and where peace is found, no matter the chaos outside. Through countless traditions and teachings, this inner home is described as the core of our being, the sacred ground untouched by fear or doubt. It's the place where we return after every journey, the source of our deepest strength and clarity. Unlike the houses we build or the cities we live in, this home can never be taken away or destroyed. It exists beyond time and space, always accessible if we learn to turn inward and listen. Finding this home requires a shift, a turning away from the constant rush of life towards stillness. It means learning to quiet the endless chatter of the mind and to open the heart's door. When we do this, we begin to feel the pulse of something eternal, a presence that has been with us all along, but often drowned out by distractions and worries. Living from this home changes everything. It transforms how we see ourselves and others. We start to realize that separation is an illusion, and that all life is connected through an invisible thread of love and understanding. From this perspective, challenges become invitations to grow, pain becomes a teacher, and joy becomes a deeper experience of oneness. This home within is not about escaping reality or hiding from the world's difficulties. Instead, it's about coming back to a place of inner refuge, where we can gather strength, find guidance, and meet life with open arms. It's the foundation for true resilience, and the source of authentic happiness. Cultivating this home takes patience and practice. It asks us to be gentle with ourselves, and to keep returning whenever we feel lost or overwhelmed. Simple acts, like breathing deeply, pausing to feel gratitude, or allowing ourselves moments of silence, can help us reconnect with this inner sanctuary. Over time, the walls of this home grow stronger, and its light shines brighter, guiding us through uncertainty and doubt. More than anything, this home is a place of unconditional acceptance. It welcomes every part of us, the light and the shadows, the fears and the dreams, without judgment or resistance. Here we find the courage to be vulnerable, and the freedom to be our true selves. As we nurture this home, we begin to carry its peace into every aspect of our lives. relationships deepen, creativity flows, and our purpose becomes clearer. We move through the world with a calm confidence, rooted in the knowledge that no matter what happens, we are always held by something greater. I invite you to explore this home within yourself. Make space for quiet moments, listen to your heart's whispers, and trust the wisdom that lives there. It's a journey worth taking, not because it promises an easy path, but because it leads to a life of meaning, connection, and profound inner peace. Remember, the home you seek is not somewhere out there. It's inside you, waiting patiently to welcome you back. Every step toward this inner sanctuary is a step toward healing, awakening, and true belonging. So today, wherever you are, take a moment to pause and breathe. Feel the ground beneath you and the space within. Know that you are already home, the home of all that you are and all you are meant to be.